Okay,
Thanks.
good evening, everyone. This is a meeting of the Board of Sewer Commissioners for December 16th. Time is 6:30. And for roll call,
Donna Bronk present.
Peter Dunlop present.
and Jim Gibberti present. Okay, the next, we have the set of minutes here from September 23rd. There's, would need a motion and a
I
second,
move
please.
to accept the minutes from September 23rd.
Well, I vote, but I haven't seen them, so I don't, September 23rd, I don't see them in our packet.
Go ahead, tell Donna.
Yeah.
No.
Not mine, because I abstained anyway.
Okay, I'm just kind of,
I wasn't present.
oh, okay, I'm just,
Yeah.
I'll be damned, excuse me. Thank you, Malcolm.
Okay.
Okay, all right, I make a motion that we accept the,
The only thing,
That's a second from Donna.
yeah, that's the second.
Okay, all in favor? The 1, 2, 3.
well, there might be one thing you want to mention.
Oops. Did I miss that? Well, he's a superintendent, that's
I'm
for sure.
super and I'm intended to do it, so
That's
you know,
interesting.
Mr. Chairman, that's probably a Scribner's error or something like that. I don't know.
I would doubt that, that's probably
I think that can be
typical. It's
corrected.
probably,
I don't think
it's
it's a
probably
major
practical.
deal.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't, is it still spelt
okay,
right? I mean,
all in favor of the minutes?
Aye.
Okay, 301, right. 301. Okay, I have got a couple questions relative to this that I'll come back to a little later on. All right. Citizens' participation, we have no one in attendance. So next we will go to the British Landing Condominium and Yacht Club. That will require a quick overview explanation by Guy. Bring everybody else up to speed on this.
So I'm just scanning it, something messed up down there.
So, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, let me preface this by saying this is in the hands of our town attorney. So
Yep.
I don't know how much we should discuss, et cetera, et cetera. So what I'll do is I'll just give you an overview. We had a pump station fail. Now's pump station failed. The system that operates the on and off of the pumps, the level indicators, failed. Pumps didn't come on. Entire system was backed up. That's the lowest point in the that whole area on Main Street. So it caused some problems at 45 Main Street, which is this particular property. And so he has a claim in. And so the debate is he has an illegal drain. If you came in the stairs down here, you'll see at the bottom of the stairs there's some grates. That's a drain. That's called an outside drain. They're illegal to tie into the sewer. And so that's the issue. So
That's
it's in
where
the
it
hands
came
of, yes, so it's in the hands of
I
the,
don't even
it's in the hands of the attorney.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hey. We have a pre-treatment policy that Guy is presenting for us to take a look at to see if anybody has any questions, comments, additions, corrections.
a pre-treatment, okay.
So this is for the town of Bourne, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if you're all aware that Bourne has their own treatment plant. They built one, it's
I've
online.
seen it, yeah.
So what happens is every time they have an upset, they stop taking it to the pump station, they send it to us. And so when they did that, of course, we're not notified, and I think I mentioned this to the board before. So what I'm looking for is this policy which says that if for any reason they have to divert flow from their pump station to us, we have to be notified. It's almost like we have to know. And also, they can never exceed 200,000 gallons per day. 'Cause what could virtually happen is they could take 200,000 gallons a day capacity downtown, plus their pump station, because there's quite a lot of development going on. And so if they have a problem with their pump station, they're already giving us 200,000, and they put the pump station to us, there'd be an exceedance. And they would probably classify it as an emergency. So I'm trying to get ahead of this and stop before it becomes a problem. We've already had issues with them just diverting. Oh, by the way, and they were coming online, offline. And for some reason, there was something taken out, their biological process. So the intent of this policy is I'd like to get this to Bourne as our policy, pre-treatment, because they come to us and say, hey, this is the status. You have your own treatment plant. Anytime there's an issue, you need to notify us, and we'll be prepared for it. And as we monitor flow, if you get to the 200,000, then it can't come to us. So that's the intent and nature of this policy.
Whoever, does the typing here,
Do they have the capacity down there, guy, to slow roll it?
did you see that?
So it's a 100,000 gallon per day plant, to my understanding, not even close to that. So they should be okay, but the problem is when you have small plants, in today's day and age, there's a lot of quaternary ammonium. And quaternary ammonium takes out treatment process, the very small processes. And so with COVID, everybody's cleaning, and all these cleaning agents have quaternary ammonium. And it becomes an issue. So they have to figure out how to get by that. So every time they have a kill, they want to send it to us. Right now, it's not a major deal, because they're not close to the 200,000. But I must say that number, what they're bringing to us, we're finding and we can talk about that later, but we're finding that it's a lot more than they're saying. So that's where we are with this whole thing. I'm trying to get ahead of it.
Okay,
I
regarding,
have a problem with it. It's better than saying no.
So I think Bourne's spelt wrong, but I just
We're
think,
still
I don't
in to
know.
work with them.
Yeah, it is
Oh, yeah.
spelled wrong down, it's spelled correctly
I know the
up
people
top
on the
is
other
down.
side of the canal
It
are
is,
happy with it.
and I think that as a Scribner's error, we can make that correction. I don't think it
Okay.
non-validates the policy.
We just need to know, that's all.
Absolutely, I mean, you just can't keep doing what yes, absolutely, we have to know.
Do you need a motion for that?
yes, I need a motion and a second and a vote.
I make a motion that we accept the superintendent's policy here for the Bourne wastewater treatment, as far as their obligation to inform us if they're going to be, if the flow is diverted.
Do I have a second?
Second,
There you go.
Okay.
Second.
you did notice, Guy, that Bourne is spelled wrong the second time?
Correct, it's a Scribner's error, yes, it is. It's just,
Okay, I'm not gonna,
or it could have been a Freudian slip, but anyways.
all in favor?
No,
Aye.
400. Okay, all right, don't worry about signing it later.
Wait a minute, which one?
Okay, we got a sewer overflow, 45 Main Street.
So, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, go back to that same pump failure, because the British Condo Association is run by a management company, and they had some damage to the common areas, and that's what they're seeking, and it was their issue. There was a tenant who owns property in the bottom floor that was overwhelmed. One side on the right, as soon as you go in the door, to the right of the basement, and a couple of buildings, offices on the left. I'm surprised the picture's on here, but they're pretty much like what you're seeing here, but just in greater form. It was a $24,000 claim, which we forwarded to our insurance company, who's now doing an investigation and doing their due diligence before they pay it. And the bottom line is that we had a failure. We caused it. And the lawyers can sort out the other stuff. I'll let them sort out as far as the illegal drain and removal of it. But this claim is in the hands of our Meyer, our insurance company. And they talked to me, and I've been there, and it's legitimate. She had 4 inches of wastewater in her entire operations. And so she had to strip everything. Everything that was on the floor was damaged. It was a mess. It was quite a mess. So that's, I just wanted the board to be aware of it. That's, the claim is at our insurance company.
Could it be avoided with a backflow preventer?
If we had put backflow preventers on all laterals, it would stop, right? It would not go into the homes. That's not a policy we have. No property in the town of Wareham that I'm aware of has backflow preventers. And they in themselves have inherent issues, because if they fail, then you've got a problem. You can't get gravity out.
Are they legal?
Backflow preventers, I see nothing illegal about them. If you want to put one on your home, you're welcome to. The only fear is if something got behind it and the sewer couldn't push it open, then it would back up into your home. And you'd have to chase it. So it'd have to be available. You'd have to go in your sewer line, put a manhole so you can access it. Anytime you got a flap or something, you got to be able to access it.
Well, just that, if, how many other places are we have to have a problem like this? You know, with sub-basements being occupied for some reason.
The only one that we've had one here, and I think we had one probably 6 years ago in Pinehurst.
At a residence?
Yes, the residents to fill their basement. And we had to clean it up and fix it, and I think we replaced the washing machine, something
Guy,
like
would
that.
this be a cause of the outflow that they have? The manhole that's in the wrong place?
The illegal drain?
Drain, illegal drain, thank you, I was trying to get that
So
term.
the owner of this particular piece of property, when I met her, she said all the sewer came out of that drain back into the building and into her offices. And she was quick to point that out. So yes, and again, it's in the hands of the attorneys, and I'll let them decide where it goes. But I don't know how much we should talk about it, but that's a legal issue. But yes, it came out of the drain.
So your recommendation is, based on what you've seen and looked at, that we've turned this over to our insurance company, which our insurance company be liable for paying her the 24, and if legal determines that it was caused by the illegal drain, then the insurance companies can fight it out to get the money back.
That'll be, and I'm sure the insurance company will watch closely.
Yep.
And that'll be totally determination. So just, outside drains, drain leaders, sump pumps, all these things are illegal to the sewer. They're all illegal, and we have them everywhere. We do. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna check with the town and make sure theirs aren't tied into the sewer. Because it's easier to get it to the sewer, and it's out of sight, out of mind, it's easier. And so it's something that we have to deal with. But the DEP and the EPA in the last 10 years have been adamant, because we're having more wet weather. We're having higher waters. It means higher water table. That means that system capacities are being overwhelmed with water. And so it not only does it strip us the ability to sewer more people, it takes away the capacity and creates SSOs, which becomes a public safety issue. So it's a big problem, and it isn't something we should take lightly. And homeowners, if you're listening, you shouldn't take it lightly, because it's a bad thing. We need to get them out. So that's what this is. It's an illegal connection, what they call outside drain. You can't bring water, stormwater, into a sewer system.
Any questions? Bourne love letter.
We sent a bill to the town of Bourne for the back basins $1.2 million project. We own I think we own a little under $1 million, and they own $300,000 of it. They said they didn't have a letter to substantiate this. Now, a couple things happened. We sent a
that's
letter
interesting. I didn't see that.
that we gave to the board looked at it, and they said, okay, but and I think I gave Jim a copy of the minutes. And one part says that they would rewrite the letter and send it. Now, I don't know what the sent meant, but I know that the board is gonna rewrite the letter. We haven't got the letter, we didn't send it. So, all I'm saying is that Bourne is saying they had no knowledge. We sent a letter, we've got proof of the letter that we sent, and we just said that we have projects coming on. We said we had $2 million for the back basin, $2 million are gonna be in front. We didn't specify. I think the board's point was we should be specific. and the board was to do a letter that was specific. So Bourne is looking for something. In my mind, in my opinion, they have something. It may not be as detailed as they would like it. It may not be to the penny, but it is telling them that we have projects going on, especially the back basin, and we felt that they should be aware because we'd be billing them their percent, which we did. So that's what prompted everything, because they said, oh, we had no idea, and it's not in the budget. Well, I don't know what to tell them, because the department, we sent them a letter, and we brought that letter to the board and showed it to the board, and the board felt that it wasn't specific enough, and they would write something. Jim and Sandy, I think it was, Mr. Chairman, and the secretary were gonna write something and either get it to us to get to Bourne or get to Bourne themselves, but we don't have that letter, and so we didn't send anything. So that's where we are. I'll keep the board informed. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I billed them, I expect them to pay it, and it's pretty straightforward. And I sent them a form letter, I think it was a year ago, maybe a little longer, that said it's coming, so I'm good with it, and we'll see what happens.
Questions, comments?
No.
Since you haven't had a chance to say anything, Guy,
Thank
give
you.
your report.
Oh, yeah, that's, where do I start? I don't have much, let's see, one. Okay. COVID. I've told the board, and I've said it many times, we're involved in COVID testing. We test the wastewater for COVID. I've been sending the reports to the Board of Health, and it's been shown a significant increase. I read the paper in Wareham, the Board of Health is saying there's a significant increase of COVID in the town. We're involved with the state Department of Health and a company called BioBot, which is based, the education of two young ladies got their, I think it was their doctorate's degree from MIT, and led this charge of being able to identify certain things within the wastewater. And one of their biggest claims to fame is opioids. They worked in 33 states to help cities identify what portions of their cities had opioids, so it would help the police department or those in charge to direct their energy to areas that needed it more than just broadly. So the concept was COVID was that you were able to see where COVID was. If you have a big city, you could see it was the west side, the south side, the east side, and maybe look and see maybe there's nursing homes, maybe there's a concentration, and give the community or the public, I mean the Board of Health or the public health agents within the community some great direction to maybe, you know, help out with the problem of COVID. So we are still testing. We test twice a week. We send it out to BioBot. The program is being subsidized by the state in the health department. I send them out to the director of Board of Health, and I guess he's emergency manager also. I've sent one to Derek, and periodically I send them to the town administrator. So I just want you guys to be aware of it, that effort's ongoing, and it seems to correlate. When we see a rise, the town sees a rise. So it's a good tool. When we see it low, then we can tell the town, and we send it to the Board of Health, so it gets dropping. We're doing something right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the concept of it, and we'll continue on.
Where do you test?
We test at the headworks of the wastewater treatment facility. Comes in, we take a sample, and we send it out. They pay for it, sends out to their lab, and they test it.
So you couldn't isolate?
If we had to, I could go to each pump station. In other words, I can go to 3 pump stations.
At this time, we're not?
At this time, we're not.
Okay.
We could. If the Board of Health felt that there's a side of town that they may be suspect of, I can sample that side of town and send it in. But this program is sponsored by the state, so they limited me to 1 location. When we originally got involved in March of 2020, we did 3 locations, and we had a better idea of what was going on. And that was funded we paid for the shipping, and the analysis, which is quite expensive, was paid by others. So anyways.
So hypothetically, all of what you're reading could be at the hospital?
Could be anywhere. It could be at the hospital. It's coming into the plant. And we have 3 pump stations.
Could be people that are already being treated.
And it could be the nursing homes, it could be the trailer parks, It could be individual homes in a certain area. It could be anything. And so if we had to if the Board of Health had some suspicions, I could go to that neighborhood and test a manhole in front of a home, test a manhole in front of the hospital as it comes out, and say, okay, here's what this sample is, we'll send it in, and they can give us how many or how much. And they do it in colonies, if you will, how much it is, like when we do for bacteria. And I send that report, and all of it's on there, it's listed. It also says where we are statewide, countrywide. It gives all the states and our state, and it's all color-coded. And then it compares us to all the other communities in the county. So we've got a good idea what's going on locally, nationally, and how we rank and compare, and then we can make decisions on what to do. So we've been doing that for quite some time, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's a powerful tool that we're involved in. And this board and this department has been involved since the inception of these COVID testing, back in March of 2020. I think we're the second community in the entire state to get involved, so I think that's a good thing. There was a spill at Wendy's, and I want to report that it wasn't grease, it was oil. They cleaned out their fryer oil, and they collected on the outside of the building, and that's what the spill was. It wasn't their grease trap that we monitor, so I'm pretty excited about that. It was oil, it was reported to me that it was grease, et cetera, et cetera. I went to Wendy's, and it turns out to be oil. And the Board of Health was there also. The flow meters from Bourne, the flow meter is in. We've got some numbers back, but we're not going to bring them forward. We've decided to test 2 more locations to verify our numbers. We don't like what we're seeing, and before we address it, we want to verify, and we're going to test in 2 more spots to make some deductions and maybe some subtractions to concrete or crystallize what we're seeing. And then we'll move forward from there. So that tomorrow morning, we're putting 2 more meters in, and that'll give us exactly, we're going to subtract what's coming from Hideaway Village, we'll subtract it. What's coming from our area, we'll subtract, because the number is substantial. It's substantial that we're getting at that pump station. The biofilter, we put it out to bid. We opened the bid yesterday. It came in at $500,000, much more than we expected. Everything, it's a day-to-day thing. What I was given for prices 6 months ago, 3 months ago, I mean, it went up $200,000 in that short period of time. So I got the bid, and I'm trying to figure out what to do. I was tempted to put it back out to bid. I don't know if it'll be any easier. One of the things that I've asked for in the bid was to make sure we could get media. Activated carbon is very difficult to get, and so we didn't want activated carbon. One of the worst things we felt was to put an odor control system that we couldn't get components to run it. And if I had some breakthrough because the media is exhausted and they told me I'd have to wait 3 to 6 months to get the media, well, that defeats the purpose of this entire project. So I have to make a decision. It's more than I thought, so I got to look for the money, and we'll make a decision is the best way to move forward. Because once the project's completed, this basin can't go online without a biofilter.
Would you say this is 200,000 higher than you thought?
That is correct. It was $200,000 higher than the estimate we got, I think it was 4 to 6 months ago. Yes, that's what I said. I wanted to bring, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, to be frank with you, but, I visited a couple businesses that had change of uses, and what I find is staggering. I went to a particular business. We've been charging them 2.5 EDUs. I walk in the building, it's 5 EDUs. So every time I walk into a business, there's more EDUs because they can change the use of that structure without notifying us. It's just that simple. And so people are using more water, and we're treating more water, and we have no concept. We're not getting paid for it, and it bothers me. So I'm going to have to work in more audits, or at least do spot audits, and figure it out. Because, when I do see a change of use and I go to the building, I'm like, oh my God, where'd all this come from? Because no one's saying anything. So that's something I really got to work on and figure out how do we stay up with all the changes that are going through the town. I went to a building, there's a pot lab coming in, there's a pot dispensary there, and now they're gonna put a pot growing in the same building. I'm like, okay, where'd this come up? And then the building down the road wants to put a pot dispensary. I have, and it's pretty easy, there's one you can call in and get it delivered, and that's at the industrial park. We already have one in the industrial park that produces, so I have to find out the impact from the waters that come to us. That's our issue. We're not saying that they can't be there, but what we're saying is there an impact? And are we being properly paid for what's going on in the town? So I'll continue to look into that and see where it goes. Our projects are coming along with, we've got the basin in, the EQ basin, we've got we just put in the wet wells, and y'all, if you have a chance, come down, especially the back biofilters, the back D-night filters. We're down 25 feet in the ground. It's pretty fascinating to watch them, the rebar's going in, the base is happening, and the piping underneath the base and the pipe chambers and all that, so it's kind of neat to watch, and the safety and the pilings and all the stuff they're driving, and it's
Gonna put
pretty
a little
unique.
tunnel in so we can go down and inspect afterwards?
They won't let me in. I tried. They wouldn't. I don't know why. Gosh, I just don't know why. But I can go to the fencing or just inside the fencing and observe. I can take my binoculars or expand my camera, but for safety reasons, we
Yeah.
kind of don't go in there. There's cranes overhead and excavators and all kinds of things, but we can watch from a distance, and it's kind of fascinating. I'm seeing them set tanks, these huge tanks. They get this crane set up, and they set tanks. It's kind of fascinating to watch, and so I encourage anybody, if they have a chance, to pop in and see what's going on.
Now, which way do you get over to that? Go to the right when you go in the gate?
You're going to go to the left,
On the
and then
far
take
right?
your first right.
Okay.
And then go, and when you come down, you'll see everything on both sides.
Gotcha.
And you can park by the trailers,
Okay.
and we can just walk a few feet, or we can drive to the edge, and you can see it. You can actually park with your car and see it if you can't get out, Jim. You can actually park there
Right.
and see it, and see what's going on. I can drive you around the corner to see that also. There's
Gotcha.
a spot I can get you. But I think it's fascinating. Folks, we're spending a lot of money. It's a $10 million project. Sometimes it's nice to see where that $10 million is going. And it's easy to sit back and say, $10 million? But when you watch what's happening, and you watch the components and the pores and the metal and all the rebar, I mean, my goodness, there's tons of rebar and the piping, and you kind of say, wow, okay, I get it. There it all is. And the power it takes and the manpower it takes to put this stuff in kind of puts it into perspective. And you say, it's a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But I can see the value in that money. It isn't just, because once it's all done, it's all backfilled,
Not
you're
gonna
not
see
going to
it.
see anything. You're going to say, what? I paid that for this? Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Can I just, I didn't want to interrupt
Sure.
your enthusiasm.
Anytime you want to interrupt them.
No. The new businesses that you've been visiting, and you found that there is change of use in that, how is that affecting the flow that we expected?
Well, it's twofold. So that's a good question, and I'll answer it back to the beginning. When we decide on sewering an area, we calculate each house and how many gallons should come out of that house, and that's what we design for. So that's it. So we say, okay, that's what we're going to build a plant based upon these designs. So if that 2-bedroom home becomes a 6-bedroom homes, we just blew the whole project. We blew the whole calculation. So instead of getting 200 gallons from the house, we're getting 400. We didn't count for the 400. If we go by a business and it's a business, okay, it's 1,000 square feet, and it's one big open business, and there's going to be 3 people in there, fine, that's fine. So now all of a sudden you come back a year later, and that building's cut up to 5 businesses, 5 people putting water in, 5 individual units that now have 3 people. So instead of 3, you have 20 or 15, and they all go to the bathroom. That's flow. Wasn't accounted for. So it increases our flow, and we're not getting the revenue to treat that flow, because they're not paying the revenue, and we're getting more flow.
Shouldn't there be communication from whomever approves these projects? Because you gotta get, I would imagine the business that went from 1 business to 5 businesses had to go through some form of the town to get
A
approval.
change of use form. You call the town up, you go down there, tell them I'm changing the use, and they issue a change of use form.
Yeah, but you're talking from 1 business to 5 businesses.
I get that. Well, as far as the town is concerned, what does it matter to them? Because they don't have to treat the water. They don't have to worry about collecting for it. It's not an issue for them. We got more businesses. We got more people in town, and so it's a good thing for them.
The town wants to control the sewer department. It has completely said that it does. I mean, it has said it does. I mean, we are here, we're here to do business for our constituents that we were elected for. However, if they're not telling you, and we're using more on an existing system that's already drained, come on, communication's gotta come better. It has to. Can't someone tell the town administrator that it's imperative that we know when there's gonna be a change of use? That way we can get out and we can take a look at it right then and there.
I get that, and I've had conversations, sometimes some heated conversations, and hopefully one day it comes to fruition. At this point in time, there's a disconnect. Same thing with houses. I go to a house and they tell me they're building a bedroom. Okay, a bedroom's no big deal because a single-family home can have more bedrooms, right? No more ADUs. I go there, the bedroom has a kitchen, a living room, a dining room, and a basement. That's a bedroom. We are not charging you, so now I'm charging you for it. So it's a bedroom. So when the town approved it, they approved it as a bedroom. Well, it's really not a bedroom, it's an apartment. So these are the kind of disconnects that's existing, and when you explain to them, well, we charge an EDU, that's a unit. That's a unit. You can put a family in there. It's not a bedroom because, Mr. Jones has his family in the main house. He puts a bedroom for the kids, but that bedroom is really an apartment. And so it has to be treated as an apartment, and that's a full EDU. So those are the issues, and when I ran to that, I'm like, oh my goodness. When I had to inspect the sewer, I'm like, and I'm looking at the plans, and I call the town and say, we have a difference. This is not a bedroom. This, in my eyes, is an apartment because it has everything: kitchen, dining room, living room, a bedroom, and a basement. How can that be a bedroom? So and so every time I go out and I find these things, so I make the correction at our end and say, okay, I'm going to charge you for it. And I tell the owner that I'm going to charge you for it. Like I walked to the owner yesterday, and I said, I'm going to charge you for it, so he's aware. But, that's after the fact. How long has it been going on? I don't know. So anyways, we're doing our very best to communicate, and sometimes I'm frustrated, and sometimes I frustrate people. But I think it's important that people pay their fair share. We try to be fair. We don't want anything we're not entitled to. We just want what we're entitled to because we need to run a department. We need to treat the flow, and we need to have the revenue to treat that flow so we can provide the service that people expect. When I can't provide the service because I can't afford it, because I'm getting more or I'm not getting revenues, it becomes crazy. So anyways, that's why I'm going to do audits. It's time consuming, but I've got to run by things and see things and go from there and do the very best I can.
Guy, change of use forms.
Yes.
When somebody submits one, where does it go?
It goes to the building department. So there's a computer and I can log in. And when it says sewer's not notified or it says water's not notified, and it goes on and on and on because it's been determined that someone has the authority just to issue it. I see that and I take it upon myself to go check and say, okay, let me find out what's really going on here. Because it's not clear, we're excluded. And when I get there, I'm looking, I'm saying, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And I make a phone call. And some phone calls become shouting matches because we don't understand each other. And some phone calls because, well, that's my job, and that's by law, I can do that. And so in some is like, okay, I'll look into it. So there's a whole plethora of conversations and responses in the conversations, but I'm doing my very best to bring it forward. I think what I'm trying to do is explain why. This isn't just because I want to know, it's why I need to know, the importance of what I'm saying, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Does this go through Dave?
It goes through the town. It goes through the town. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I'm not looking to throw anyone under the bus.
I'm just looking at where the direction is.
Everything starts at
That's all.
special services, right? Everything, every building, every change of use, everything in the town starts at special services, because that's where you got the building, the plumbing, and commissioners. Everything starts there, everything. I don't care what it is, if somebody puts a stick in the ground, or puts a window in a house, or whatever, that's where it starts. That's where it starts. It's that simple. And there's a building inspector, George, great guy, he makes a point to call me when he's out
Yep,
there.
yep.
I think that he goes above and beyond, he tries really hard, he's always, hey, guy, you know about this? Guy, you know about that? And so he catches some of the things for me, and I'm appreciative of it, and he's a
That
good
is.
guy, and he does his very best to know, because him and I have had some conversations, like septic systems in sewer areas, how does that happen? Lack of communication, and I laid into him, I said, wait a minute, guys, that's a sewered area. Ask me, don't assume. And some years ago, somebody put we're gonna put a septic system, and that permission was carried out. Sewer's there, and that permission shouldn't have been carried out. But nonetheless, it's just, and so I make it known, and George said, well, I didn't know, I'm glad I know. So George, I gotta say, in the inspection services, George works with me fine.
Is that Buddy? They call him Buddy?
I
too?
don't know. I call him George. I don't know what they call him, but I call him George. He's a good guy. And he goes above and beyond to make sure I know, because I've talked to him enough, and I've showed him, I've taken him out. And I said, George, this is what I'm looking for, why I'm looking for it. Oh, okay. So he understands, and we've probably, in the beginning, we were probably frustrating each other, but we go out there together to see, so we understand, because it's all about understanding. You know, because if you're sitting in your desk and something's explained to you, sometimes you just can't grasp it.
No.
All right, let me just go out there and see what you're talking about. And George has done that, so I commend him for it. So that's the
I think,
project.
to me, it seems like a much larger problem than what Guy is conveying. As he said, he doesn't want to throw anybody under the bus, but this, Mr. Chairman, there's got to be a way that we can, that can devise
Well, Guy, you said you can,
information.
you can go online to look this stuff up, but there's no notification that comes through to you that a change of use has been requested for a certain property.
I can find it,
Yeah, that's
and
not the
it can
point.
come up on my computer that something's happening, but I'm not, yeah, you're right. It isn't like tension guy.
They
It isn't-
they don't notify you specifically.
No, it's a computer
That's-
system.
okay, so, but
And there's,
there's a lot of stuff in the computer system.
Yes, I get it, and it's
But
like
it's
you're
hidden.
supposed to see it, but,
You know, you
that's
can't,
right. If I don't go open my computer today, I'll never know. If I'm on vacation, I'll never know, and I understand that, but other people should know. So if nobody else has access to my computer, they don't know, because I'm tied into the system. But I have to see it. There's no ding, 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 you got an email. There's no, I'm doing this, and I'm old-fashioned. Hey, how's it going? Yeah. Hey, I got a guy coming in. He's going to do this, this, and this. All right, look out for it. All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Bam. I'm old-fashioned. When I'm doing something and it's going to affect the roads, hey, Dave, this is Guy. Yes, I'm doing a sewer project. They may go into the road. I'm going to send them to see you. Is that okay? Great. Look for me. Here's their name. Here's the address. They'll come see you, because if they're going to go on the road, that's out of my jurisdiction. I want you to be involved. Hey, thanks, Dave. I'm old-fashioned. That's me. But that's not the norm. That's not the standard. So
okay,
anyways,
so in other words, if I'm understanding this correctly, there's a little kink in the system, and it would probably make more sense if, let's say, on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis, a notification specifically was sent to you on X places have requested a change of use.
to me,
Preferably
every
ahead of
department,
time.
yes, every department head should get an email, my opinion, this is just my opinion, to your point, weekly that says, here's what's going on. And we all look at it, oh, that affects me, no, that doesn't affect me. Sometimes I get plans for something in West Wareham up by the cranberry bogs in Carver. Doesn't affect me, I'll look it over and go, so,
Well, that's pre-planning, just so, in case we get sewer
in
out
case we
there.
get sewer down there. So I like to know what's going on and what's going on, but again, there should be a mechanism. And, you know, we're short-staffed at our plant.
I know.
Okay? And I'll be frank, I tell my guys, I'm tired of hearing where short-staffed is an excuse. Everybody's short-staffed. Go to the hospital. Short-staffed. I remember I couldn't get a procedure because they couldn't find a guy to go down my throat and watch my heart for clots while they did a procedure. That critical. Everybody's short-staffed. But you know what? That's not an excuse not to do your job the best you can with what you have. Bottom line. Maybe I have to step up a little more. I tell my guys, maybe you got to take 2 skips instead of 1. But the job's got to get done. It's that simple. I get it. I'm not, I get it. So when I hear people tell me, I'd love to, but I'm short-staffed, yeah, I am short-staffed too. How about I shut the treatment plant down for 12 hours a day because I'm short-staffed and we really can't keep up, so we'll shut it down for 12 hours a day. That means that for 12 hours, you guys, no bathroom, no business, we're shutting it down because we're short-staffed.
That's a good idea.
So we can't get there. We just can't get to it. We're short-staffed. We're done.
Can we do that?
We don't have that option. We don't have that option. We have to keep it running, keep doing our job. Through COVID, nobody had a day off. We worked every day. We did our job. Nobody went home because if we do, then the sewer department or issues that we see every day aren't going to get addressed. All right, so we have to step it up. I get it. We're short-staffed, but it doesn't excuse us from doing our job. We do the very best we can, and sometimes we are under trial and tribulation, and we're frustrated. Very frustrated, but it's got to be done. Some departments can just shut down for the weekend. They can shut down for the day. They can call it a day. We don't have that option.
Shut down on Thursday night and not come back till Monday.
So it'd be nice. It'd be nice if I could shut it down. Give me a chance to catch up, catch my breath, shut it down for the winter. Boy, it would be great. That's not an option.
Summer operation.
But anyways, that's pretty much all I have, Mr. Chairman. But again, I
Okay.
compel you. And then the other thing, my last thing is, I don't see any Christmas shirts. All right? I wore mine. We discussed it last meeting. I wore mine. All right?
I should've
My
worn mine.
ugly Christmas shirt. I'm here. I'm in mine, and I don't see anybody else. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm making a note of that next year.
All right.
Okay, we don't have any update on some pumps or homes. We're
No,
still running the same.
I'm meeting Tuesday at 12 o'clock with the engineer. We've got some ideas for some pumps, but also more importantly, the grinder pumps going into Weebiantic. We've got some plans, some ideas. So once I meet Tuesday, I think the next meeting I'll present this to the board. And again, we talked about options for some pumps. We got something that we think is going to be a good option, and we'll bring that forward.
At the same time, just to spin off on that same thing, any more word on that Chinese product?
Oh, yeah, it's ready to go. I've got to get, Mr. Chairman, I'm just looking for a piece of land, and that's what I'm doing now. Once I find a piece of land, we're done.
How about the parking lot out here?
I thought about that. Every time I drive by a piece of land, because it can go under anything, and I look at everything, and I'm trying to,
Have you heard anything from the Bliss Foundation?
I haven't. They told me they'd be slow, and they are.
All right,
And they're an organization that do things for the elderly. They're elderly themselves. It isn't like they meet all the time, and
no, I understand that.
I'm still on it. I send
I'm
emails.
still in the mix somewhere along the lines, that's all I'm,
No, I looked. I've been on it. I'm also looking for other properties in that area. I've got a couple that I'm looking at that may be alternatives, but yes, we're going to move that forward.
there was something here. Oh, in the minutes earlier that we approved, there was a point on the Narrows Force Main, and was work going to be done in the spring. And we had a discussion independent of that regarding a pump station. That's been rehab of the pump station has been on the agenda for some time, or on your radar at least for some time. Is it practical to consider combining the two into one at the same time?
No, and I'll tell you why.
All right.
It's timing. The bids are going out in January for the lining of the force main. That's out in January. So that's done. The Narrows pump station proper itself, we're in the middle of analyzing the best approach. I believe, and I'm beginning to believe stronger each time I talk about it, that we need to build a new one.
Yeah.
Just build a new one. What troubles me is the bypass. I would have to put a pipe. I'd have to dig down Merchant's Way, dig under the highway or Route 6, and put a pipe along the bridge on the sidewalk and travel along and come into Narrows, dig Narrows Restaurant, dig down and tie into the force main to rehab that pump station. And it may take months. And the pumping and everything, and then I gotta tie back in where it goes under the bridge, and it's a major project. We figured anywhere's $10,000-$20,000 per day to do that. So you add that money up. And also, yes, and then if the state said no, because I'm impacting a bridge, a pretty important bridge, and travel of vehicles, ambulances, et cetera, they may say no and have to do septic trucks. And last time I calculated that, it was 1.3 or $1.4 million, maybe a little bit more. So that's a cost. Then the rehab cost is a couple, $3 million. You put it together, you're $4 or $5 million. We figured to replace the pump station itself is like $4 to $6 million. So we look at you do a cost analysis and you say, okay, I can rehab this pump station. I got to rehab the electrical, the structural, mechanical, and control. All that's got to be rehabbed because it's still 1972 technology that we've been patching every so many years. And it's so convoluted now that when we go to repair something, we don't know is this working, is this not working, it's old, and we cut things out. It'd make more sense to replace it, even if it's $1 million more, it's new. We can put the systems in that will address shortage. Like say if this system shuts down, there's another system will kick in, we can do it all as we build it, and there's no bypassing. And nobody's offline. We keep going because bypassing is critical, there's hiccups. At the plant we're bypassing to construct now, Sunday it shut off, and we lost plant water, et cetera, et cetera. So bypassing is something, on the long term, is something you gotta monitor 24 hours a day, and that gets to be costly. So we're looking at, so to answer your question, we haven't completed. When we get completed of the analysis, we'll present it, and we'll see which is the best way to go, and we'll figure it out. We presented it to the town administrator because we're looking for ARPA funds, and so part of the ARPA funds was the new pump station. I think it was a clarifier and headworks building. That's to the ARPA, and that come out to about, we're thinking $17-18 million, and we're hoping to get a bunch of ARPA funds. I think the town's gonna get close to $7 million, and we could take a good portion of that and leverage it. But anyways, that's where we are with it. So that's all being worked out too, so. And we're also looking for grants. So that's why I couldn't combine them. One will be done well before this one's done.
Okay. All right, well, it's worth the ask.
Yeah, and it's good, and I'm glad, because sometimes if I can combine projects, it makes all the sense in the world, because mobilization is a cost.
Oh,
If you
absolutely.
mobilize everybody and get more done in one mobilization, it's a cost savings.
Well, looking at what it cost us to mobilize on some of this stuff is crazy.
Yeah, it is,
Just
it's crazy, it's
absurd.
getting crazier, it's getting crazier.
Any new business, guys? Ladies, gentlemen?
Well, where do we stand capacity-wise and everything that was in queue, because I've been gone?
That's a good question. Everything's been approved.
What's going on with that?
Everything in the queue's been approved, and we're moving forward with it. We're watching our capacity.
What do we have left?
It's time of the year, we're about 1.1 million now. At 1.2, we got to notify the state. We're looking at, realistically, backing out numbers, we've probably got about 60 grand left, 70 grand that we can actually give away before we hit that trigger.
So everything in queue's gone?
Yep.
It's gone. And now it's
Yep, that's done.
How many things in queue? Do you have a list?
There's nothing in the
Nothing in
queue.
the
I mean, how many things recently approved that were in queue?
So,
Big question.
I forget. I'll get the list to you. You need to get the list and see, 'cause it's all approved. I'll get
me
you
a
the
list.
list. I'll
Just-
send you the list. But I want to say that, remember, there's 40Bs popping up that, like Settlers Glen, that's 20 units, that's there. I got a call from Littleton Drive. And the guy called me, the engineers, and they're getting ready to go. They want me to, they're doing pump designs. They're changing force mains. That's rocking and rolling. And I said, hey, have you got funding yet? And the guy said, No, but we're moving forward. I said, okay. So they want to meet with me to do all these plans, so that's moving forward. There are just things popping up, like, where'd that come from? But anyways, that's adding, but,
What's hot right now?
I'm sorry?
What's hot right now?
What's
within the
hot?
last- Within the last few months,
The,
other than the 40Bs?
no, that's pretty much it. There's really nothing that I'm aware of other than
Is-
hot places and,
Phase 4 of Bay Point, has that been approved? We haven't approved that, have we?
we approved the flow, but they so we've approved it all. There was a long time ago, courts, whatever, we approved, and don't hold me to it, but let's say we approved 35,000 gallons for the whole project. That's still the case. They've reworked and changed, I think 4 went from, I don't even know anymore, went from apartments to townhouses to other, so that's,
Trying for condominiums too, yeah.
but that's all, every bit of it's under that same gallons. They don't get any more gallons.
Okay, so they just got, okay, because they're on Phase 4 right now, and that wasn't part of, Phase 4 wasn't a discussion as a phase when we did 1, 2, and 3.
And
So all we've approved really is gallonage.
that's right.
So once they max that, they're
It's done.
stopped.
No, and that includes all their phases. Phase
Yep.
4 they're talking about, but they're not even close. Phase 4 is a year, maybe 2 out. They're just doing phase 2 and 3, I believe, or 1 and 2, phase 2 and 3. Because they're opening the road from the old, where Cahoon stops, and it turns to Bay Point Drive, I think it is. They've dug that straight out. They're doing the road now straight out to Onset Ave. And they're gonna be between, I forget, I wanna say 11, hole 11.
That's 11 and 11,
13.
12, yeah.
That they're doing that.
That's all cleaned
Drainage
out
is
now.
going in, the road's out, that's all in, and they got lots, and they probably even sold some, and that's being done, so that's a ways. And then that also includes a pump station and some force main work on the street for the state, on the state highway, on Route
Is that
6, I think
grinder
it
pumps
is.
in there too?
I'm sorry?
Is that grinder pumps in there?
No, they voted on, the planning board wanted a big pump station.
Okay, so that's gonna have a major grinder pump, right?
Yes.
In the pump
all of them.
station.
Just like I told, Woodland Cove, everybody, I want a grinder pump. Do what you gotta do, but I want a grinder pump. I don't want anybody's rags and
Now, the Phase 4 is gonna be individual homes or condos?
I believe it's gonna be townhouses. When you first go into Bay Point, to the right, there's this huge parking lot, there's gonna be townhouses down there.
Okay.
Yes, so they were townhouses. One time it was gonna be apartments and something else, but now it's gonna be townhouses. But that's just logistically, they get in front of the planning board, that's all, but it's not happening anytime soon.
All right, so that's done and over with, really.
Yes, we approved gallons that
Other
we're done
than
with the
finding
gallons.
out what the actual configuration is gonna be to see whether or not that coincides with the numbers of gallons.
Yeah, because they send me, and I add up the gallons, and we go, and
Yep.
that's what I talk to engineers about, so that's all I'm doing, and I'm just saying, when you get to a certain amount of gallons, you're done.
Okay.
So you work within those gallons, and they have been.
Okay, anybody else?
No,
You're on stage.
okay, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
7:20.
Guy, these contract policies that were in here,